Usually, when a young NBA player makes a strong impression and performs at an all-star level, that player typically only continues his ascension and progression, proceeding to have a long and productive career. Unfortunately though, this isn't always the case. Today, we're looking at the top 10 greatest one-hit wonders in NBA history, which are players who had one season where they appeared to be on their way to superstardom just to quickly fizzle out. And let me know in the comments how your list differs from mine. Number 10. Michael Carter Williams. Michael was a 6'5" point guard who was selected by the Philadelphia 76ers with the 11th overall pick in the 2013 draft. Immediately, once his NBA rookie season began, the hype train officially took off for this kid. In his debut game, he stunned the basketball world by dropping 22 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, and 9 steals, in a close victory over the defending champion Miami Heat. Less than a week later, he had 26 points and 10 assists in a victory over the Chicago Bulls. In his very first week in the NBA, he was honored as the league's Player of the Week. At the end of the regular season, he had recorded averages of 16.7 points, 6.2 rebounds, 6.3 assists, and 1.9 steals on 40.5% shooting. Only 4 players in NBA history have averaged at least 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in their rookie season, and those players are Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, Luka Doncic, and Michael Carter Williams. As a reward for his debut season, Michael was given the NBA's Rookie of the Year, but unfortunately, it's all been downhill from there. He had shoulder surgery in the offseason, and it was clear that he had lost a significant step in his game. Within a few years, he was no longer a starter in the NBA, and was only averaging single-digit points. At the time I'm making this video, he's looking for a roster spot as a free agent. Number 9. Jahlil Okafor. This 6'10" center was taken with the 3rd overall pick by the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2015 draft, and it was the 3rd straight year that the 76ers used a top 6 pick on a center, which were Nerlens Noel, Joel Embiid, and Okafor. At least in 2016, it appeared as if Jahlil would end up being the best prospect out of all of them. In that rookie campaign, in 30 minutes per game, he averaged 17.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks on 50.8% shooting. Although he wasn't a very intimidating rim protector, he certainly displayed a tremendous amount of skill on offense, and finished on the NBA's All-Rookie team. It is worth mentioning that he only played 53 games in that rookie season, due to a meniscus tear in his right knee, which ended up being the beginning of his dramatic decline. The following season, he averaged far fewer points, rebounds, and blocks. Throughout his short career, he would continue to deal with injuries while being traded from team to team, and by the age of just 25, he had played his final game in the NBA. Number 8. Michael Adams. Now don't get the wrong impression about this ranking. Unlike other players, Adams had a 7-year stretch where he was a productive player in the league. But for 1 year specifically, he appeared to be an absolute superstar. In the 1990-91 season, he was in the right opportunity to succeed on the Denver Nuggets, as he averaged 26.5 points, 10.5 assists, 3.9 rebounds, and 2.2 steals on 39.4% shooting. This made him 6th overall in scoring and 3rd overall in assists. Although this 5'10" point guard was certainly a talented player, it appeared his superstar season was a bit of a fluke, as it was sandwiched between 2 more down-to-earth seasons. Ultimately, he still had the skills to be remembered, but if he was always as good as his peak season, then he would have been in the conversation for the title of the greatest player under 6 feet. Number 7. Antoine Carr. This 6'9" power forward was a bit of a journeyman throughout his NBA career, and for his first 6 seasons in the league, he put up rather underwhelming numbers, averaging about 8 points and 3 rebounds. And then in his late 20s, he was acquired by a desperate Sacramento Kings team, and suddenly he found lightning in a bottle. In the 90-91 season, Carr was the Kings' leading scorer, as he averaged 20.1 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks on 51.1% shooting. The Kings only won 25 games that year, and apparently Sacramento's management figured that this was a fluke season from Carr. So they traded him while his value was high to the San Antonio Spurs, and it ended up being a brilliant move. His decline was as quick as his initial ascension, as he wasn't close to replicating that level of production for the Spurs. And although he went on to have a long NBA career, he never again flirted with the possibility of making an All-Star team. Number 6. Mike James. This 6'2" point guard was the very definition of a journeyman, as he switched teams a total of 13 times in his 12-year NBA career. Throughout the vast majority of his career, he had a very modest contribution, and served mostly as a solid three-point shooting role player on most teams. But specifically, in the 05-06 season, James took more of a leadership role, and appeared as if he was trying to establish himself as a star. He was the Raptors' second leading scorer behind Chris Bosh, and he also led the team in assists as he averaged 20.3 points, 5.8 assists, and 3.3 rebounds on 46.9% shooting. That production was certainly needed on a bad Raptors team, as that was his only season where he started in every game that he played. But after his trade to the Minnesota Timberwolves, it was all downhill from there. Number 5. Aaron Brooks. Not much was expected of Brooks upon entering the league, as he was selected with the 26th overall pick by the Houston Rockets in 2007. He wasn't really wowing anyone in his first couple seasons in Houston, as he averaged nearly 9 points and a couple assists. But it was his third season where he took a massive step forward, as he played and started in all 82 games, while putting up 19.6 points, 5.3 assists, and 2.6 rebounds on 43.2% shooting. Thanks to this effort, he won the NBA's Most Improved Player. That Rockets team didn't have a healthy superstar on its roster, which allowed Brooks to display some of his own capabilities. But for one reason or another, it was a level of play that he didn't sustain in the following seasons. And to close out his career, he was traded from franchise to franchise before he was out of the league at the age of 33. Number 4. Tyreke Evans. I vividly remember the beginning of this man's career, and the hype about his game. He was a 6'6" shooting guard who was taken with the 4th overall pick in the 2009 draft by the Sacramento Kings. Immediately upon entering the league, his skills were evident, as he had a terrific handle on the basketball and a solid pull-up jumper. Even as a 20-year-old rookie, he was quickly establishing himself as one of the most clutch players in the league. On the year, he put up averages of 20.1 points, 5.8 assists, 5.3 rebounds, and 1.5 steals on 45.8% shooting. Thanks to this effort, he was honored as the NBA's Rookie of the Year, finishing ahead of Steph Curry, James Harden, and DeMar DeRozan. Based on his skills and production, many people assumed, including yours truly, that he was on his way to being one of the best players in the league. But unfortunately, that wouldn't be the case, as his rookie season ended up being the best year of his career. What's odd is that Tyreke didn't really have any major injuries as an excuse. Whether it was his lack of conditioning, discipline, or confidence, he never improved his game after his debut year, and before he reached the age of 30, he had played his final game in the NBA. Number 3. Dana Barros. For some reason, the 76ers have a lot of one-hit wonders in their history. Dana was a 5'11" point guard who had a very underwhelming start to his career, as he averaged less than 10 points over the course of his first 5 seasons. But after some changes in the coaching staff and approach, he suddenly had a breakout season in 94-95 at the age of 27. Barros led his team in scoring, assists, and steals, with numbers of 20.6 points, 7.5 assists, 3.3 rebounds, and 1.8 steals on 49% shooting from the field. He was also lethal from downtown, as he shot a remarkable 46.4% from three-point range on 5.2 attempts per game. Thanks to this season-long performance, he made his first and only All-Star appearance, and was voted as the most improved player. At the end of the year, he left the 76ers in free agency to play for his hometown team, the Boston Celtics. But in hindsight, that may have not been the best decision, as he was reduced to a bench role and couldn't replicate his previous success from his 76ers days, and would never return to his all-star form. Number 2. Walt Hazzard. I've never seen Walt on any other one-hit wonders list, which kind of blows my mind considering how I'm ranking him as high as second place on my list. He was a 6'2" point guard / shooting guard who initially was drafted by the Lakers, but only put up moderate numbers in his time in Los Angeles. After he joined the Seattle Supersonics for the 67-68 season, he had one of the most randomly elite seasons in NBA history. He had one of the most ugly jumpers that I've ever seen, but it did work for him as he led his team in scoring and assists, putting up 24 points, 6.2 assists, and 4.2 rebounds on 44.1% shooting. In just one season of rapid progression, he convinced the basketball world that he was one of the best players in the game. But apparently, the Sonics management knew better, as they traded Hazzard when his value was at its highest, for the NBA Hall of Famer Lenny Wilkens. Lenny then continued to be a perennial all-star for the Sonics, while Hazzard became a major disappointment in Atlanta, and would never return to his peak form, making it one of the most lopsided trades in NBA history. Here's my list of honorable mentions. Should any of these have made it into the top 10? Let me know below. Number 1. Jeremy Lin. This 6'3" point guard entered the NBA undrafted, so his expectations were not very high on his numerous short-term contracts. After a very weak and sporadic rookie season with Golden State, Lin got another opportunity with the New York Knicks, and this one he didn't squander. It was one of the most random ascensions to stardom that the league has ever seen, as Lin was taking the NBA by storm, earning the nickname Linsanity in the process. After scoring a grand total of 32 points in his first 9 games in New York, Lin then exploded, averaging 25 points, 9.2 assists, and 2.2 steals over a 9-game stretch. He was taking over fourth quarters, he was hitting game winners, and he even dropped 38 points on Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. People were convinced that they were witnessing the birth of a superstar, but in reality, most of the basketball community got caught up in a short-lived spectacle, with substance that wasn't built to last. After Carmelo Anthony returned from injury, Lin took a back seat from much of the scoring and ball dominating. At the end of the season, Lin was acquired by the Houston Rockets, but without the point guard advantages of having Mike D'Antoni as a head coach, Jeremy Lin could never replicate the short and amazing success he had in New York. In all my years of following the NBA, I've never seen someone rise and fall as quickly as Jeremy Lin did in the span of just a few weeks. So what do you guys think? What is one of the one-hit wonders that comes to your mind? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.